Yeah. Running Back Nation, what is good? Sixers sickos, what is good? Real sicko. Shh. I don't want to curse in the first 30 seconds of the video. That's what they say. Real sicko stuff right here, because I think we're up against NBA games. Not that there's any good ones, because it's just good teams versus bad teams every night now. There is a Nuggets Raptors game that I think is going to be good. That's starting right now, actually. I think we're up against March Madness too. Is that right?
We are up against March Madness. Yep.
Oh damn! So that's gonna kill us live, but people will watch the replay. But thank you to the sickos that are in here live, because you guys could be watching March Madness. You could be watching some other NBA games. You could be watching The Bachelorette. I don't know, anything other than watching two guys talk about the 76ers and the situation that they're in right now. But yeah, we're gonna talk about it. I got my man NZ for 3 with me right here, and we're gonna talk about it. Will the Sixers make a playoff run, or are we being delusional? This is, of course, brought to you by Bright Medical Technology of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania's largest medical supplier and pharmacy, specializing in ambulatory aids like walkers and wheelchairs, oral nutrition, tube feeding supplies, diabetic supplies, including diabetic shoes and glucose monitors, incontinence supplies, and catheters. If you're having trouble breathing, Bright Medical specializes in nebulizers, inhalers, spacers, and all breathing medications. Every time I read that, it's just so fitting for a team with all of the oldest players in the NBA every year. I just think of, like, Kyle Lowry on the bench with his diabetic shoes and glucose monitors and inhalers and spacers. Bright Medical accepts most insurances, services patients of all ages, and delivers anywhere in Pennsylvania, either by hand delivery or by UPS. And Joel Embiid playing in Denver. I honestly think that's why he doesn't play in Denver. I think he can't breathe in Denver. Bright Medical staff speaks 15 languages, and you always speak to a real person, never an automated system. If you need any medical supplies, just call Bright Medical. Don't forget to mention Running Back Philly. Go to brightmedi.com or call 215-725-MEDS. That's 215-725-6337. All right, man. Here's what's first. I got a major issue. All right.
What's that, Eastwood?
And I'm just going to tell you, and you can tell me if I'm just being a hater or if I'm telling the truth. All right. Every single time the 76ers play some of the worst teams on planet Earth and some players drop some points, the Twitter sphere of Sixers Nation starts talking about how good some of these players are and how they should have been playing a long time ago. And even the craziest of people over there start saying things like, this team is way better without the ball hog Tyrese Maxey. They just go nuts. And, regular people on the internet, whatever, because most of them are cellar dwellers just who don't go outside and just they're angry and they say dumb things all day. But Sixers reporters, they tweet this stuff. And it bothers me so much because they know it's not true. They know it's not true. You know what I mean? Somebody, I forget his name, a Sixers beat writer, tweeted out the Sixers players' individual turnover percentage in the past 5 games, and talked about how good they're securing the ball lately, and if they can continue this moving forward. I'm like, bro, they played the Nets and the Trailblazers and the Grizzlies and the Kings.
To the worst teams in the league.
You guys can't do this. And then somebody else tweeted something about the Sixers have to hope that Quentin Grimes and Justin Edwards continue this momentum when they get healthy. And I quote tweeted it and I said, unfortunately, you don't get to play the Brooklyn Nets in the playoffs. What are you guys talking about? And I'm not saying they didn't play good. They did. But these teams aren't even trying to win. The Kings are so fucking bad.
They need AJ DeBansa.
The Kings are so bad right now. And I'm supposed to sit here and watch a game and get all hype about it. That's why I couldn't even... I mean, it was a 10 o'clock game, so I'm not going to, whatever. I'm not going to do a post-game live at 1 o'clock in the morning anymore. I'm not that much of a sicko anymore. I used to be. But it's hard for me to talk about that game. I'm happy VJ dropped 38. I'm happy Justin Edwards dropped 32. But when I look at Justin Edwards dropping 32, I say, yeah, he's had 45-point games in the G League. This was essentially him scoring points in the G League. So what am I supposed to take from it? You know what I mean? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you for having me on, Eastwood, Sicko Nation. What is good? I mean, it's incredible how we even have people in this stream in the first place. I mean, it doesn't matter how much of an abhorrent abomination this franchise can be. We're still up in here chopping it up. Look, as much as I like to see Justin Edwards, Quentin Grimes hit shots, I feel the same way. They are playing the worst competition in the league. And everyone's always going to say, hey, well, Jared McCain, he's playing really well right now, but it's against like the Nets and all that. Let me put it in this perspective. Jared McCain, he is slotting in so well next to a relatively healthy Thunder team, complementing SGA and all their other top players really well, just slotting in perfectly, knowing his role. And the difference between that and what Quentin Grimes and Justin Edwards does is that when you see Grimes and Edwards play next to Embiid, PG, and Maxey, they really don't seem as productive. They don't really have as much of a role in the offense because things kind of just got to run through them. I mean, Quentin Grimes, in his last 10 games, he's shooting 22% from three. He simply has not been the type of shooter that is necessary in a Joel Embiid system that you need next to Tyrese Maxey, Justin Edwards as well. I mean, what I kind of took away from these past couple of games is that these players, they need a lot of action run for them, a lot of screens. Look, this is completely irrelevant, but if there's one thing that Andre Drummond has done well this season, especially in these past couple of games, there is. It's setting screens. It's setting screens. He's dude. I don't know if you saw against the Trailblazers, bro. He set a screen. Matisse Thybulle ran right into him, and he just bonked into him. He fell over like a freaking brick wall. And Grimes got an open three from the right wing. Drummond has been setting amazing screens, and that has been helping Grimes and Justin Edwards, maneuver around the court a little bit more, get some more high quality shots. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the Sixers aren't really coached, so they're just kind of playing with chickens with their heads, heads chopped off all the time. So I think these players, they definitely need some more plays run for them. But when I see them just chuck up a bunch of shots, of course they're gonna have some good games. But when there are actual expectations, and when it comes to actually, playing a complementary role necessary to compete for a championship, I just don't see it.
Yeah, no, that's a perfect response to what I said because I don't think I'm even looking at these players and saying that they can't play like this on a regular basis. I'm saying, imagine them in a good system. That's what people should be saying. People should be saying, wow, imagine Justin Edwards in a good system. Imagine even Quentin Grimes in a system where you use him to his strengths and you try to minimize his weaknesses, not just give him the ball and let him go crazy. He just plays like he plays like I was going to make a reference to a drug reference. I don't want to do that. He plays like he took some pre-workout before the game.
Right.
He just flies around like a maniac, and that's why he turns the ball over so much. And, you could have a system where you use Quentin Grimes the right way. You could have a system where you use Justin Edwards the right way. Like, what do you think Justin Edwards would be doing if he went to OKC? You know what I mean? Perfect example.
Brandon Miller 2.0. Like, I do like Grimes as a bench piece. He does play hard. He plays solid defense. And, he does have some shot creation ability of what we have seen these past couple of games with, his quick little power dribble, crosses driving to the lane. Whenever Quentin Grimes is at his best, when he is being decisive, just going straight to the rack, full force, absorbing contact, drawing fouls, and getting layups, as well as, just spotting up from three. And those two players, Edwards and Grimes, they have legitimate skill. Now, there is some nuance to this. There is talking about the system and what can be improved upon, but then there are simply just players that really aren't that good, the Jabari Walkers, the Dominic Barlows, the Trendon Watfords. I think these are like the same Sixers fans who are hyping up Dakota Mathias and Charlie Brown Jr. back in the day. You know what I mean? Like, as much as we love to see these type of guys play really well, and Barlow was fantastic.
Dakota Mathias reference. I love that.
Yeah, that's a classic. Only real sickos know who Dakota Mathias
Dakota
is. So
Mathias. Yeah, continue. Sorry.
yeah, but yeah, like I Barlow was fantastic to start the season, man. He looked like the exact type of player the Sixers have needed for years. Just a engine, a go-getter who's going to crash the glass, who's going to cut to the basket, who's going to finish plays, and really just switch the momentum in your favor whenever is necessary. He was just such a jolt of energy, but it just fell off so hard as the season went on. Both him and I think him and like a Dem Boner are like in the bottom percentile when it comes to defensive rebounding percentage, but they are decent, when it comes to offensive rebounding. But so much of this team's problems comes from them.
You put the kids in the driver's seat. You know what I mean? You I don't know what the right metaphor is. I said you put the kids in the driver's seat. Like they need, the pit crew's driving the car. Let's make a NASCAR reference. The pit crew's driving the car. Like Joel Embiid goes out, the whole thing falls apart because everything's around him. And he's so good that Dominic Barlow can feed off of that, and then Dominic Barlow looks like a good role player, or Kelly Oubre looks like a good role player, or anybody. As soon as those guys are out, these guys have to step up, and they can't step up because they're not that good, So then they get exposed. You know what I mean? I mean, a perfect example.
Exactly, yeah.
Perfect example was when they played the Pistons, and the first possession of the game, Jalen Duren on the block on Dominic Barlow, just plowed into him and laid it in.
Jalen Duren was a menace in that game.
I mean, what are they really supposed to do? And that was a perfect example of elite NBA talent versus not elite NBA talent. So, they're not going to do anything.
Yeah, my point is that, Justin Edwards and Grimes, they do have ability when it comes to shooting and some type of shot creation that you could see working decently well on a well-constructed, well-run offense. My thing is with especially like Barlow and Trendon Watford, they're not shooters. This team has never had the type of three-point frequency and efficiency to really be, I think, like a serious offense. Like you don't no longer need to be a crazy 3-point shooting team to dominate in the NBA. But like even teams like, like the Thunder and the Spurs, they still a lot of their shots, the majority of their shots aren't coming from the 3-point line, but they can still hurt you a lot from the perimeter. Yeah. They're just extremely well-rounded, and they have weapons. The Sixers really just lack weapons because 75% of their salary cap is sitting on the bench eating Twinkies.
Absolutely. And, you don't have high-level role players. The GM gives all the money to one guy, and then he has to go get whoever he can. And Dominic Barlow looks good because it's like, we got a two-way guy that's performing. But to perform at a high level in the playoffs, you need high-level role players. You need Harrison Barnes. You need Bobby Portis. You need those kind of guys that can bang in the boards, rebound, and shoot threes. And
TJ McConnell.
Dominic Barlow can't shoot. And he keeps shooting, by the way. I respect the confidence, but it clangs. Dude, it clangs off the side of the rim every time he shoots the ball. And I'm like, why is he still shooting? He's shooting 20% from three. Just stop. I know Andre Drummond's showing him up a little bit by hitting some threes, but that's really what it is to me. Joel Embiid can mask all of that when he's at his best. I still don't believe that's good enough to win the whole thing. I think at the end of the day, if you get into the playoffs, they're gonna throw the kitchen sink at Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, and that does what? That exposes everybody else anyway. And then are you expecting a 20-year-old rookie to give you 40-point games in the playoffs? Yeah, I don't expect that. I'm not putting it past him, but I don't expect that. And are you expecting Paul George to give you 40-point games in the playoffs? No.
Not anymore.
No. So that's my take on that. But the fans that go crazy when we play a bad team, it's so nearsighted. I'm like, guys, how are you ignoring the fact that they played, 49-year-old Russell Westbrook and Maxime Reynaud? And Reynaud is awesome, by the way. He can't defend yet. But he's awesome.
He's good.
Another Daryl Morey miss.
Yep. Kalkbrenner too missed on him.
Kalkbrenner was one spot ahead. They would have had to trade up to get him. I get that, but Kalkbrenner and Reynaud were the two guys I was looking at in the second round. I'm like, dude. It makes me so mad because I remember watching Reynaud's highlights. I don't even know how he went to the second round. 7'1", 250-pound guy that can dribble the ball, that can shoot the ball, that has ball skills. I'm like, what the? This guy looks like a 7'1" Nikola Jokic. I know that's crazy to say, but why is he
Right,
going in the
yeah.
second round? And then he was still on the board, and this idiot takes Janai Broom.
Dude, I knew that Janai Broom pick was horrible just right from
How does
the jump.
anybody?
That was so dumb.
How did anybody not know that was horrible? How did anybody not know that? There's still Vincent. I don't know if he's in here. He's still the one that still defends Janai Broom all the time. I'm like, bro, 6'9" big, who had the worst vertical at the combine and has cement feet. He's slow. He can't jump. It makes no sense to draft a guy like that. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway. I'm going to hit you with something that you probably don't expect, man. First of all, we have a super chat. Thank you, Bernard McCoy, for the super chat. It says, Delusional. Joel's offense is above par, but his defense has been below par. His poor rebounding, lack of shot blocking will kill us in the playoffs.
We got to make the playoffs first.
So Bernard is talking about fully healthy.
Yeah.
Joel's lack of rebounding and shot blocking will kill us in the playoffs. And I got to say, unfortunately, I think you are 100% right. I think we've been ignoring it when Joel Embiid plays because in some regular season games, you can get away with it. But yeah, when it gets to the playoffs and you're playing the competition is what we need to talk about. You know, when you're playing teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers, the New York Knicks, the Toronto Raptors, the Atlanta Hawks, all these teams have size and rebounding. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, my thing with that is Joel, it's a miracle that he is even still like a plus defender when it comes to forcing missed shots around the rim. I still think that he is a good rim protector, but when it does come to rebounding, for sure, that is still he kind of has never really been a great rebounder, but it is really starting to kind of stick like a sore thumb. But regardless, the way that he has been playing this season when he is on the court, it really is nothing short of a miracle. Go back to what he looked like at the beginning of last season and this season too. The dude, he could barely move. He was getting cooked. He was getting destroyed on literally every possession. It was a layup line. He was looking like frick. Remember when Mo Bamba was on this team? Literally the worst rim protection I've ever seen my entire life watching basketball.
I just saw him the other night. Who does he play for? I forget.
Dude, I think he's on
I just saw him
Utah.
I just saw him and I was like, Mo Bamba. Oh my God, how bad is this team that they're putting Mo Bamba on the floor? Holy
right,
hell.
but yeah, like Joel, I think he's still a good rim protector, but a part of defense is being able to end that defensive possession, get those rebounds. That's always been the Sixers' problem. It has always been rebounding. I mean, this season, they're 30th in the league in opponent offensive rebounding percentage, 24th in defensive rebounding percentage. They relatively play hard. I think there are a few Sixers fans who would say that this team doesn't play hard. It's just that they don't really expend their energy that well, because when you keep letting the team get all these second chance opportunities, you have to keep playing defense. And I mean, these guys are human at the end of the day. They're going to get gassed. And when you look at guys like Josh Hart, who are smaller, but he is able to be such an impactful rebounder because of his IQ, because of his ability to tell where the ball is going to hit off the rim. It's just the positioning. It's the fundamentals that all these other teams have that the Sixers simply lack.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And let's look at the standings here because I want to say something about, I want to make a bit of a prediction, I guess. First of all, to the person in the chat that said, why are you guys being so negative? They're only a half game out of the 5th seed. Or I think he meant the 6th seed. Or did he say the 6th seed? But either way, they're a half game out of the 6th seed. The reason the Sixers aren't getting to the 6th seed. I don't care if they're a half game out of the 6th seed. Look at their schedule. Well, let's first talk about this, okay? Paul George is expected to come back he's eligible March 25th, okay? Tyrese Maxey targeting around April 1st. Joel Embiid, no firm date because there's never a date with Joel Embiid. It's always just a guess. The earliest it seems like that they could get their big three back on the floor is around April 1st to the 5th. Are we actually going to say that we expect them to have everyone on the floor on April 1st against Washington? I hope so. I hope that happens. If you go to, the 5th, then you're talking about the San Antonio Spurs on April 6th, and I don't think you want to bring everybody back and play the San Antonio Spurs.
I mean, you got the Timberwolves, you got the Pistons. They are without Cade, but you still an okay team. You got the Houston Rockets as well. So if they want to try and go on some type of run, I'm sure we'll get more into this later. But like, yeah, I guess if you bring all them back, you kind of need that kind of talent to beat those teams if you want to secure some type of spot. But given where their schedule is at right now and how all these other teams are playing, it's really unlikely that all of them are just going to suddenly go on some crazy losing streak at this part of the season.
Well, right. So if the soonest you're getting everybody back is April 1st against Washington, then you have Utah, OKC, Chicago, Charlotte, Miami. You're beating Utah because they're another team that's trying to lose. And it's just, you got to play Memphis, Brooklyn, Portland, Sacramento, and now you get to play Utah. I think, or Ace Bailey drops 40 and we lose, or somebody else.
Filipowski.
Filipowski gives us 35.
Bryce Sensabaugh.
But look, a realistic prediction: you beat Utah, you're losing to OKC at home, and Jared McCain's returning. He's going to probably score 53 points.
He better, man. He better.
You're losing to OKC. I don't even think they're beating Chicago without Maxey. I don't think they're beating Chicago. They're not beating Charlotte. They're not beating Miami. So this is 1-4. So why would I think they're going to get up to the 5th seed if I think they're going 1-4 in their next 5 games? You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, yeah, they blew a 28-point lead to the Nets' army of 2K-generated players. I do not believe there is some type of path to where they can magically secure a playoff spot. They're probably going to have to battle it out in the play-in tournament.
Yeah, they're going to be the 10th seed. And they're not going to fall behind Milwaukee because Milwaukee's too far behind and they suck and they're trying to lose also, and they're trying to convince Giannis to sit out for the season and he's refusing to, which is funny.
What a crapshoot in Milwaukee, man.
But that
dragged on for way too long. Yep.
And if you're the 10th seed and you get everybody back and you play the remaining 5 or 6 games of the season, I don't know if I see them beating Charlotte. I honestly don't. I've been watching some Charlotte Hornets basketball, man. Charlotte's been cooking. Atlanta's been cooking. Miami, they can beat Miami in a play-in game. I think they could probably beat Orlando in a play-in game if they have everybody back. I don't want to play Charlotte in a play-in game. But I think maybe they beat Charlotte in a play-in game. Either way, let's say they get everybody back and they win the play-in and they are the 8th seed. They would then play the Detroit Pistons, and I think Cade Cunningham would be back by then anyway because he has a minor collapse lung, which is like 4 weeks. The other cases that I've looked at, like NBA players with this same thing, have missed about 4 weeks, and I think he would be back by the time the playoffs start. And the Sixers against the healthy Detroit Pistons in the playoffs. I think the Pistons are one-dimensional. Maybe they could take Detroit in a 7-game series if they're healthy.
They would definitely make it. They would definitely put up a good fight if everyone's healthy. My problem with the Sixers is that, look, to win an NBA championship, you need like 3 things. You need solid roster construction, you need timely shot making, and you just need your team to be healthy. And given Embiid and Paul George's track records, I don't know anymore, man. I really don't know.
Well, no, they're not winning a championship.
Sure.
No, there's no championship happening. I'm 100% out on that, I think.
But like even like in a matchup against the Pistons, their defense is their biggest strength. I think that the fact that they have to rely on guys like Quinn Grimes and like Dominic Barlow, they just don't really have enough floor spacers really for me to feel confident in them taking on Detroit, especially when Cade Cunningham is there. If Cade's collapsed lung somehow gets worse or whatever, they could definitely put up a fight. Like if Cade's healthy, I could see that going to six games. Honestly, I could see that going to 6 games. It's kind of like, when we played the Knicks a couple of years ago, like that series ended in 6 games, but each game could have gone either way. It was a nail biter each game. It was a lot closer than what it looked. It just seems that the Sixers, they're always the dumber team. They're always they're always more prone to, turnovers and not going stagnant offensively and just never making adjustments.
In crunch time, offense, giving up offensive rebounds, turning over the ball, all that stuff in crunch time.
The Pistons are quite good at rebounding as well, and that's always been a huge weakness of the Sixers. So, yeah, I don't know. They're probably not going to beat the Pistons, but they would make it a fight.
if they get out of the play-in and they're fully healthy, I'm talking Joel Embiid, what he looked like in that like 5-game stretch where he was looking like 2023 Joel Embiid. If that happens, they could beat Detroit in a 7-game series. And if that happens, but the crazy thing is, Detroit's the best matchup if that happens. I would want to play Detroit because, again, I think they're one-dimensional. I think you slow down Cade Cunningham, they struggle to do anything. You can't rely on Tobias Harris. You can't. Duncan Robinson can't create your offense. You know, Giannis Jenkins, I don't even know if he's an NBA-level backup point guard, really.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
so
he
I
was cooking against us, so
I think playing.
You know how role players like to play against us.
Yeah, I think playing Detroit is the best thing they could ask for. It's weird that Detroit is the number 1 seed because I think Boston, New York, Cleveland, Toronto, Atlanta, Orlando, I think all of those are tougher matchups.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Crazy?
The Pistons rely on Cade Cunningham so much, and he's just so valuable to that team and making his teammates better with how excellent his court vision is and his passing is just his overall instincts. He really has developed into a superstar. When Cade's on the court, he just elevates his teammates. That's the thing. But yeah, when it comes to like further predictions for this playoffs, the Pistons, they don't have some type of solidified second option when it comes to scoring, and that is the advantage that the Sixers have. They do have more star power. They have Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. So that duo as well, they can tear them up if they're on fire, and as long as you can get like Podcast P chilling in the corner, hitting catch and shoot threes and still playing positive defense. VJ Edgecombe as well. I feel like, the Sixers, they do have a shot. They would have a shot against the Pistons. I just believe that, the NBA playoffs has become such a battle of attrition that I just don't trust the Sixers enough to really be reliable enough when it comes to availability and overall consistency to outlast them.
Yeah, well, Detroit struggles against elite defenses this season, like the Spurs, for example. And so I say slow down Cade, and it's tough for them to score. But then I'm like, well, can the Sixers do that? Can the Sixers do what the Spurs do, perimeter defensive? Like, look what the Spurs did to the Suns last night. Devin Booker was 8 for 21. Jalen Green was ridiculous. 7 for 20. Like they just shut guys down on the perimeter.
Eastwood, the Spurs built a better team around Wemby in like 3 years than the Sixers did around Embiid in like 8.
Why do they have so much damn draft luck, though? Like,
they do. I mean, especially like with how they got Tim Duncan. I mean, they got draft luck, but guess what? They're also a competent organization that capitalizes on that luck. You can't say the same thing about these other teams.
They're a championship level looking team, and this is Wemby's 3rd year. It's Stephen Castle's 2nd year. And Dylan Harper is a rookie. It took us 11 years, and we got 1 star.
Yeah.
We missed him.
I mean, I guess you could kind of consider Maxey, but no, like he was taken like 21st in the draft. That was a miracle that we got Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah, and that was 7 years after the process. That doesn't even, The Spurs got to the top of the draft and hit on picks, one after the other after the other.
Immediately, yep.
We missed on 4 out of 5.
We did.
So... That's where we're at. But anyway, what was I saying about? Oh yeah, like I'm saying, elite teams can slow down Cade Cunningham, and the Pistons struggle then. But can the Sixers slow down Cade Cunningham? When I really look at how they play perimeter defense, it's bad. Somebody in the chat said here, you just double team him and pray. We already do that. We double team everyone for no reason.
Yeah, we're the most aggressive help team in the NBA. Do you know how many guys we leave open from 3?
We overhelp every time.
Yeah, you can't do that against bro. Nikola Jokic was barely trying when we played the Nuggets. Like he had the most easy 14 assist game of all time, bro. Just constantly, flipping it over to Christian Brown, Aaron Gordon in the corner, catching cutters. Sixers were constantly falling asleep off of, baseline cuts and all of that. They're always scrambling in rotation. They never have some sort of set defensive scheme, always over helping, falling asleep on defense too. It's just flat out terrible. Well, they do not practice.
To me, it's pretty obvious. Nick Nurse used to run used to be an elite defensive-minded coach, but really all he was doing was switching everything with the Toronto Raptors because he had a bunch of 6'10 dudes that could defend, and he could switch everything. Now he doesn't really have a strategy because you can't switch everything, and it seems like there's no communication at all. There will be a ball screen, and one guy switches and the other guy stays, and they just double the guy with the ball. They don't even they're never even on the same page with what they're trying to do. At least stay or switch, even if you get beat. They don't even know exactly what they're doing half the time.
Yeah, it's always just some BS drop coverage. They are just so bad at communicating when it comes to switching on screens. I definitely 100% agree. And just constantly allowing cuts, getting caught in screens too, that's a huge problem. I don't think that's really talked about enough, just how much they tend to get caught in screens, and that opens up a lot of opportunities for the other team because you're sealing off a defender. You can get a lot more open shots. But yeah, Cade Cunningham is a big guard. He has a great handle, great driving ability. He can do a lot, and he has been a difficult matchup for the Sixers. So I think, VJ Edgecombe maybe 5-6 years from now when he's fully physically developed maybe can stand up to Cade, but for now, I guess Paul George, stick Paul George on him, but really, I don't think they have really a true answer for Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, and I wanted to be positive here. I wanted to try to make a case that the Sixers could get into the playoffs, get out of the play-in tournament, and win the first round. And you guys did a successful job of convincing me otherwise. And now that I think about the Detroit Pistons playing the 76ers, you guys are right. And Duncan Robinson would probably have a 60-point game because he would have wide open three after wide open three after wide open three.
Yep, exactly. Doubling Cade Cunningham and Nikola Jokic isn't going to get you anywhere. They are savants when it comes to passing the basketball. They're going to find their shooters.
So anyway, now that we've established that the 76ers are not winning in the playoffs, even if they get healthy, that kind of defeats the entire purpose of the title of this stream. We have answered the question. Let's talk about this Giannis VJ Edgecombe tweet that came out from Ramona Shelbourne. She said the Bucks reportedly wanted VJ Edgecombe from the Sixers or Evan Mobley from the Cavs for Giannis Antetokounmpo. The players the Bucks did seem interested in were younger building blocks such as VJ Edgecombe of the Philadelphia 76ers or Evan Mobley of the Cleveland Cavaliers, sources said. Those are two totally different players.
Yep.
I don't know if Evan Mobley is like a future star that you build around.
I mean, yeah, he did win Defensive Player of the Year last season, but really hasn't developed as much offensively as you would like him to. I mean, VJ and Mobley are definitely two different types of players. A big man, you got to guard.
I think VJ has the ability to be it's going to take him some time, but I think VJ 5, 6, 7 years from now could be an NBA star. But I think it's going to take him a lot more time than people think. He has a lot of growing to do, I think. But, yeah. What was your first reaction to this?
My first reaction was I was just wondering what was going through Daryl Morey's head, honestly, given the trade deadline and how he seems to really like to go after big names. This kind of had me thinking, was a Giannis trade to the Sixers really kind of had like some type of real, chances, real probability. There was that one other post as well that the VJ Edgecombe was completely off limits. But, Daryl Morey is a liar. We know very much at this point that Daryl Morey is a liar. So that was probably just some type of, negotiation tactic or whatever for the Bucks. But yeah, I was it kind of got me thinking, man, of whether I would really pull on a Giannis trade. There's just so much. There's really just so much to it. There's so many arguments that you could say that are in favor of the Sixers trading for Giannis and not. It kind of really depends on what that trade package would be, how much you're giving up, and whether you want to ride it out with VJ and Maxey, go more towards the future and just try and win now. Because in all honesty, DJ Eastwood, I want to win. I want to win a championship. As much as I love the VJ and Maxey pairing, that's going to take a long time for them to develop and for the Embiid and Podcast P contracts to run out. Because by the time those contracts run out, Maxey's going to be like, what, 28, 29? VJ's going to come along, but that might be one of the only opportunities you get to get off of those contracts. One of those at least.
I honestly think it's going to get ugly if they try to run it back again. Because, Rich Paul's not going to sit around and let you waste Maxey's career.
Yeah, it's not
going to happen. And if you want to build around Tyrese Maxey and move forward, you have to start doing it right now. He's 25. You have to start doing it right now. You can't just wait till these contracts are over in 2029 and then be like, okay, now let's build around VJ and Maxey and then try to throw a whole bunch of pieces together or whatever. You got to start doing it now, and then you could use the 2028 Clippers pick if that's towards the top of the draft, and you could build a very good team by 2029 or 2030 or 2031. It's not going to happen anytime soon. It's 2026. We're talking about at least 5 years from now. That's right. What I think.
Yeah, I mean, and I keep thinking about it. I'm kind of wishy-washy on it. Like, one day I am for it, one day I'm not. The thing is that when it comes to winning a championship, historically, this is just the facts. Like, it's not guards that are winning championship, like the pairing of guards. Yeah, of course you got, like the Splash Brothers, but they had a fantastic team constructed around them. Clay's a bigger shooting guard as well. They were just such a special pairing. We are seeing this league be dominated more by bigger, more athletic teams. Yep. Being dominated by, bigger guards, bigger wings. And when you pair Giannis Antetokounmpo with Tyrese Maxey, that's a fantastic fit. Everyone's going to try and say, hey, well, Giannis and Dame didn't work out. Well, Dame, unlike Maxey, is more of a ball-dominant type of player. Maxey, he's really at his best when he's constantly flying off the ball. And that pairing next to Giannis, that could be really dangerous. That can give Giannis some more space to operate while you have Maxey not have to do so much of the scoring, have so much, scoring responsibility. In all honesty, I would entertain a Giannis trade. It kind of depends on, it definitely, you have to consider the risks with Giannis. If the Sixers would have traded for him this summer, you would have the 26-27 season, and then he would have a player option. So there's always kind of that concern of whether he's going to try and go elsewhere. There was now a rumor that he said that he liked Tyrese Maxey, so maybe it might be a situation where, kind of like when Jimmy Butler got traded to the Warriors, like he signed an extension immediately. It could be something like that. But you got to consider that Giannis has become more injury prone, and us Sixers fans are quite used to the fact that when your superstar gets injured, you have zero chance and there's no point whatsoever. Giannis has had some pretty bad injury problems when it comes to his calf, especially. So that's definitely a concern. So I think I would trade for Giannis, honestly, because I just want this team to win. And the fact that, they're the Embiid Giannis pairing, that it wouldn't be as bad as like Embiid and Al Horford, just because of the sheer talent that would be on the floor. But I would imagine a Sixers team where you would finally have a chance to compete for a championship without having Joel Embiid needing to be healthy. You know what I mean? And you're pairing Maxey next to a player who's still a top 3 player in the league, who's putting up ridiculous stats. It's a good fit. But honestly, like a trade package, this would probably be the only trade package I would do, though. I would do Percocet P, VJ Edgecombe for Giannis, and Bobby Portis. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. No picks.
Oh, you would trade VJ Edgecombe for Giannis Antetokounmpo?
Only in that scenario. This might be a hot take. I might be getting clowned in the chat.
That is a hot take.
I want to win. Okay.
Hey, it's your opinion, man, and you want to win. I didn't think you were going to say VJ Edgecombe. I did not think you were going to say that.
Because think about it. Like if you're Daryl Morey, if Daryl Morey even still has a job and he's calling the Bucks, hey, we're interested in Giannis, and the Bucks are like, okay, what do you have to offer us? You got Podcast P, a Dembona, and maybe like 2 picks or so. Other teams are going to put up better offers. Like,
of course.
Cleveland Cavaliers, heck, dude, I mean, low key, Giannis, would be a crazy fit on the Charlotte Hornets. Like if he could somehow, if they might go all in, the Hornets could definitely put up a good package. Like all these other teams could put up better packages. You need to give if you want to get. You know what I mean? I mean, VJ Edgecombe is a dog. He's a beast. But at the same time, it's gonna take a while for him and Maxey to mesh, and I don't trust this team enough to which they can competently escape the Embiid and Paul George contracts to give them a chance to compete. Give Maxey a chance to compete, man. He has done already so much for this team, trying to shift the culture away from the same old status quo.
Well,
Go ahead.
Here's the thing about the Giannis stuff, man. First of all, I don't even think this is true because I think if this is true, this is exactly what Daryl. This is true. He would have done that, unless Josh Harris was like, "No, you're not trading VJ Edgecombe because I see money." I'm making money right now, but I need to keep making money. And when I lose, we're losing right now. Joel Embiid's not healthy. When those contracts are up, I need to keep making money, and VJ Edgecombe's how I'm going to keep making money. So, no, you can't trade VJ Edgecombe. That could have been what happened because I think Daryl Morey was probably drooling if this was a rumor. I can get Giannis. The rumor is that he traded Jared McCain to get a first-round pick because he was trying to flip it to get Kawhi Leonard. The guy is a fucking idiot.
That's true.
The guy is a fucking idiot, dude. He's a dumb ass GM. He has no idea what he's doing. He's like a blind
OKC farm team.
Dude, he's like a kid playing 2K who hasn't watched the NBA in 10 years. And he's just like, well, that's a good player, right? Well, why don't we get Russell Westbrook? Why don't we get Russell Westbrook? That's a good player, right? Why don't we get him? Like that's Daryl Morey playing GM, dude. I'm dead serious. And
we don't trade for random NBA players, we do not trade for random NBA players.
The second thing is I'm completely out on Giannis Antetokounmpo. He is 6'11". He's 30 years old. He's now had calf issues, hyperextended knees, you name it. No thanks. He's up for a Supermax contract soon. This is literally the next Joel Embiid contract, which is the worst contract in history.
Jeez, man.
Whoever gives
I don't know. That might be a little bit of a stretch.
Whoever gives Giannis a Supermax in 2 years, it's officially the worst contract after Joel Embiid's contract is over. I am 100% out on Giannis. And this, Giannis Antetokounmpo likes to act like he's not a sociopath, but he is. First of all, there's a reason his brother has been on that team all of these years. He is a sociopath, and he gets whatever he wants. I'm Giannis Antetokounmpo. You're gonna honor my wishes. He got Drew Holiday traded for Damian Lillard. He got what's his name fired for Doc Rivers. This was all Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah,
this was all Giannis. He imploded the Bucks because he was calling all the shots. And I don't blame the owners so much because as an owner, what are you supposed to do? He's bringing me all this money. He's bringing the economy of Milwaukee so much money. I have to keep Giannis Antetokounmpo happy, and so they do what he says. He ruined the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm so out on Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm not trading anything for him.
So you're saying that because he Doc Rivers destroyed the Bucks, but you're saying your point is that Giannis
trading
played
Drew
a part.
Holiday was the beginning of the end for the Milwaukee Bucks.
But Giannis played a part in hiring Doc Rivers in the first place.
Absolutely.
So I kind of understand your point, but my thing is this: you just simply do not get these talents. They do not grow off, of trees. Like a Giannis, a Jokic, a Luka. My point is that I want to maximize Tyrese Maxey's, no pun intended. I want to maximize his prime as much as possible. And if I have the opportunity to try and win with someone who is still a top 3 player in the league, and look, I'm only doing that trade really only if I'm type of future, if it kind of does implode. But I still feel like, this Sixers team, they could have a legit chance. And Giannis still could. He could maybe try and like it here in Philly, really develop a good relationship with Tyrese Maxey because they're both dogs. They're both competitors at heart, man. They both want to win, and I feel like they would make a great pairing next to each other. Try and get, if Giannis would then sign that Supermax. I honestly kind of disagree with it because Giannis, he has he has missed the playoffs for these past couple of seasons, but has still been much more healthy than Embiid. And a lot of the Sixers problems, it comes from them not being
Yeah,
able
but
to
he's 30.
get enough.
He's 30.
He is 30,
I don't
but he
think you're
does
thinking
he
about-
still keeps his body in shape
Yeah,
during the
but he's
offseason.
30.
No.
I don't think you're thinking about or quite understanding what it means when you turn 30. The average 7-footer in the NBA retires at the age of 29. That's across all 7-footers ever. So guys that tore their ACL when they were 24, that's a big curve. But still, the average 7-footer's gone by 30. You don't get healthier after 30. Life. You don't get basketball healthier after 30.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I do understand your argument. It's Giannis being the kind of just a lot more injury prone now, and the fact that his game does rely a lot on athleticism, that could be stripped away from him at any moment, especially when he puts on a 76ers uniform. We know what happens to players when they put on Sixers uniforms. So I definitely do understand your argument. Like I said, I'm kind of wishy-washy on it. Like, I could see VJ Edgecombe drop 40 points against the Thunder. I'm like, I'm never trading this guy. And look, honestly, I'm fine if the team goes either way. Fire Nick Nurse, fire Daryl Morey, just clean house. But even if you go in for an all-in move like that, I understand it for maximizing Tyrese Maxey. But at the same time, you do have a great pairing with him and VJ Edgecombe. My concern is that I simply do not trust this team enough really in the long term to try and get the most out of a star pairing that has historically not really succeeded that much in the NBA compared to a lot of these teams that are being run by bigger guards and bigger wings. I think it could be done. Maybe it could be done, but you're going to need a much more complete overall plan and have to manage your salary cap a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, here's what happens. Look, the ownership's never going to change. That's not going to happen. They're not going to sell the team. I know people think they're having a sell the team night on Monday, which, by the way, you're going to get kicked out of the arena. It's going to be the next James Dolan thing in New York. People are going to get kicked out of the arena. I can't wait to watch it happen. It's going to be a spectacle.
Yeah, we kicked out Charles Oakley, right?
Yeah, it's going to be on ESPN. It's going to be on ESPN. People are going to get kicked out of the arena for chanting. They've already the arena and threatened to kick them out already. So if people are taking in signs or wearing T-shirts or whatever, sell the team, they're getting kicked out. It's going to be funny. It's going to be on ESPN and everywhere. I can't wait for it to happen. But the owner's never selling the team. He's making too much money, and it's too easy to make money on a Philadelphia sports team. Philadelphians love sports. If the Sixers could go 0-82, they'll sell out the building. People love to go to basketball games. It just is what it is. That you'll always fill the arena with casual fans who just want to go to a basketball game and eat popcorn. So the owner's always going to make money. You have to fire everybody and start over and change the management from top to bottom. And Josh Harris is not stupid. Do I think he's a scumbag weirdo dork that never had any friends and all he's ever had was money and is probably, has a section of Epstein Island to his name? Probably. But he's not a dumbass. He knows what he's doing. Well, he doesn't know what he's doing with basketball, but he knows what he's doing with business. He knows you have to fire everybody and start the whole management thing completely over from top to bottom. He knows that. And he's going to do that with Bob Myers. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Think it's going to be Bob Myers?
Yeah, because he already hired him.
I'd be fine with Bob Myers, yeah.
He already hired him. He's an overseer or he's some kind of overseeing all of his sports teams. He's a consultant.
Like the Harris Blitzer, yeah.
He's a consultant for Harris Blitzer Sports Entertainment, overseeing the Commanders, the 76ers, and somebody else. So they're looking at the 76ers as the, what's that meme where the one snake is like, duh? That's the 76ers right now. So they're looking
the three dragons, yeah.
They're looking at the Sixers
facts,
obviously we got to fix this, so that's what's going to happen. They're going to fire everybody. You just have to hope you hire the right management. You have to hope that you build the right, development staff, and you have to hope that you get a coach that actually employs a system and has an open mind and can get the best out of the players. But that's what's going to happen this offseason. They're going to fire everybody and start over management-wise, and they're going to hope that they can salvage the Joel Embiid and Paul George contracts because Daryl Morey made some really bad signings. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. This might be kind of random, but do you think they might consider giving Elton Brand another chance? Because I keep thinking about this. When Elton Brand, I guess, supposedly had control over the team, really, how much influence did he actually have? Or was it was like what you said, just all these owners like Michael Rubin and all of that when they had their stakes in the Sixers, just playing 2K, you know, like
Yeah,
how
that's what
much
it
of
was.
it really came down to Elton Brand? Like,
I don't think it was
were we like being too harsh on Elton Brand? I mean,
It
he
was
did like
it was
trade for
technically the Zaire Smith trade was interim
Brett,
GM Brett Brown.
Yeah,
But I don't think he was making the calls. I think the owners were making the calls. Which explains how a trade that stupid could happen. There's only one way a trade that stupid could happen. Mikal Bridges for Zaire Smith.
It's ridiculous.
That somebody that has no idea what they're doing made that trade. So it wasn't an NBA GM that made that trade. It was the Sixers owners that made that trade, in my opinion. I don't think Elton Brand did anything. And then I think that's why they never fired him, because they were like, listen, we know it wasn't your fault. We're not going to say that. But, you know, we'll let you hang out and be the GM. But actually, we're going to bring in Daryl Morey to do the real GMing. And I don't even know what Elton Brand does. What does he do?
No, I had no idea. Like the only thing I heard about Elton Brand was like last summer when there was like a rumor that he had lunch with like LeBron or something. You know, did you remember that?
No, that was a screenshot of people that were saying LeBron and Daryl Morey were meeting. But the funny thing about what you're saying is that LeBron in the photo was literally Elton Brand.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, okay. I guess I was okay. I was kind of right, but
yeah, it was Elton Brand with a backwards hat on, and it was a
gotcha.
blurry picture, and they were like, "Is that LeBron with Daryl Morey?" Yeah,
right.
Elton Brand did sign Tobias Harris. You guys are right. Yeah. So that's my prediction for what's going to happen in the offseason, and I guess that's our thoughts on the Sixers heading toward the playoffs if they get everybody healthy. I don't know if they're going to beat the Hornets in the play-in. I'm thinking they're probably going to end up playing the Hornets in the play-in. If they get everybody healthy and they get out of the play-in, their defensive issues, their rebounding issues, and their depth issues and everything probably doesn't get past the Detroit Pistons in the first place.
Yeah, I would completely agree. I mean, as much as I would like, you know, because Philly teams, they do tend to win when they are considered the underdog, yet at the same time, like when you have like a team like the Sixers, they are just so injury prone. They have no chemistry whatsoever. Really, when in NBA history have you seen a scenario where these guys suddenly all get healthy together and then go on some ridiculous run? Like it's a battle of attrition in the NBA. I don't really think they have a shot at all. I mean, like I think like there's a debate about
we're just keeping it real. We're just keeping it real. All we can do is be honest.
Should they tank or should they compete? Well, what if they can't do either? What if they're just screwed?
Yeah, well, they can't tank. Yeah, they have a 2% chance of keeping their pick if they tank. That doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Jared McCain, by the way, is shooting 45% from deep on 6 attempts per 3-point attempts in his last 10 games.
Yeah.
Just a complete beast off the bench.
And actually, that's the way that I've been blowing up my second YouTube channel, is by talking about Jared McCain, because now Oklahoma City Thunder fans love me on that channel. And I know if I keep talking about Jared McCain on this channel, Sixers fans are going to be like, why you keep talking about McCain? Why don't you get over it already? So I can be honest on that other channel, and I can continue to complain about how dumb the Jared McCain trade was. So that's Run It Back NBA, by the way, anybody. Check out my second YouTube channel, Run It Back NBA. We got another super chat here before we get out of here. Let's see. Andre 5000. I predict something big happens with Embiid. We can't go through another year of this. Averaging more points than games played is ridiculous. Averaging, you mean less points than games played? More points than games played. Oh, he's averaging. Okay, so he's averaging 29 points and he's played less than 29 games. Yeah, I get what you're saying. But what can happen with Embiid? Well, I've said this a million times. I don't know who's trading for that contract. That doesn't make sense.
Exactly. That's kind of like what I'm saying with trading for Giannis in the first place. Like, I do believe that you could try and get some type of championship roster around Maxey right now without having to have Joel Embiid carry, like even be on the court. But like, it's just whatever they do in the offseason, it's kind of a lose-lose situation. They put themselves in such a bad position with the Paul George contract, with the Embiid contract. And I'm not going to lie. Like, I was relatively in support of the Paul George contract because that free agency class was so garbage. There's literally nobody available.
Yeah.
And the idea of having a great guard, a great big man, and a great wing was just too intriguing given Paul George and his defensive ability. I think he was an all-star.
But you didn't have to offer him 4 years, $220 million.
Right, yeah. But like, like everyone keeps saying like, oh, well, you're in support of it. You're criticizing it now, but you're in support of it back then. And I'm like, well, I should be fired if I was the Sixers GM. Okay. So yeah, it did not, that move aged terribly.
Yeah.
The Embiid extension, like I understand the Paul George move more than I did the Embiid extension. I don't know if you feel the same.
Yeah, well,
but like
the
Embiid
Paul George
extension,
move was interesting because as a delusional Sixers fan, no matter what happens in the offseason, I talk myself into how good it's going to be.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really,
we see like what it could be, but then we remember we're Sixers fans and we can't have anything nice.
So before I was calling him the Michael Jordan of Tobias Harris's, right? I had a couple of videos saying like the Sixers are about to make a big mistake. The Clippers didn't even want Paul George. They didn't even offer him a max contract. He folded in Game 7 again. I was playing his post-game press conference after the Clippers playoff loss where he sounded like he really didn't give a shit. And he was like, it is what it is. I've been in this league for a long time. You win some, you lose some. He did not care at all. I was like, dude, this guy is fucking terrible. Don't sign him, please. And then they did it, and then I talked myself into, well, he's a third option, so that's good. And I talked myself into how it could be good, and it was just an epic disaster. But this offseason, I want to say this. If the Sixers lose in either the play-in or the first round of the playoffs, and Joel Embiid has now played, 30 games a season for 2 seasons, he needs to retire this offseason. That's what I'm going to be doing this offseason. If they lose in the play-in or the first round, I am going to be calling for Joel Embiid to retire all offseason because that's the only way to get out of this purgatory. That's the only way.
Yeah.
The contract can't end unless he retires, or we're sitting here until 2029.
I don't know. Like, remember like what the Bucks did to try and like get cap space for Miles Turner's? Like they stretched out Dame Lillard's contract. I don't know. I have no idea if they're going to be able to do that. That could be some type of possible avenue. But at the same time, like what other team would want to absorb that Embiid deal? Like at that point, retirement might have to be the option.
You did that all last offseason. Yeah, I know, and I'm going to do it again.
Yeah,
I'm prepared to do it again, man. I was right. What is this with Paul George returning? Can he still play full court offense and defense? That just made me think of this too. Wouldn't it be so Sixers for them to like rest these guys in playoff games? Like it'll be like game 2 and they'll be like Paul George is out with left knee injury management and they'll just rest guys in the playoffs. They might do it.
Yeah.
They might do it. Time to start putting pressure on Embiid. I mean, we can't put any pressure on Embiid. He's not listening to us. He doesn't I commend some of these guys. They completely ignore social media for the most part. They don't, I don't want to say he doesn't care. But you can't get to Joel Embiid. He's living the dream. He is an absolute king in his own world. He's in a $100 million house with a supermodel
dude's an
wife.
all-time great, first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he's in a mansion with a supermodel wife and 3 kids now. He's sitting there playing FIFA on a 200-foot projector and having, a maid mop his floor, dude. You can't tell Embiid anything.
Serving him Shirley Temples.
These guys are mega rich, dude. Why would they care what we say? You know what I mean? Anyway, I think that's all we have to say, man. NZ, thank you so much for coming through, bro. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Eastwood. It's always a blast.
Yeah, follow NZ for 3 on Twitter at NZ for 3. And,
subscribe to NZ for 3 on YouTube as well. Sixers live stream, Sixers talk. I appreciate you having me on, Eastwood. Just love talking Sixers, man. Sicko Nation. Doesn't matter how bad they are, how good they are. We are here to dive into the Sixers and hopefully, because Sixers fans, man, we deserve a winning basketball team again. Like I can't keep doing this. I'm so happy that they have VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey in the future. I just want to win now. I just want to win.
Well, they're not winning anytime soon, bro. Well, thank you so much.
Well, a man could dream.
All right, brother. Take care. Thank you for coming through, everybody.